Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Ghoulfriend Hour. I'm your host, your ghost host, Morgan Feza.
I'm your host ghost. I almost forgot it. I'm your host ghost, Taylor Jones. I don't know how I forget it every time. Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
And I'm your ghostess with the mostest, Rachel Faust.
And today, round two, ding, 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 we have Kevin Ball, humanitarian extraordinaire, superhero. The list goes on. So, Kevin, welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
We are so excited to have you again. So tell us what's new. What's been going on the holiday season?
God, what has been going on in the holiday season? I missed jury duty today.
Nice.
How's that one for the first one? I
Oh no.
actually forgot it. I had jury duty and I had so much stuff going on with the holiday season that I kind of forgot it. So hopefully they're not listening right now because I'm gonna try to play it off.
Yeah, just
There's
be
my
like diarrhea. When in doubt, diarrhea, nobody
Yeah,
questions.
right?
perfect. I have
Yeah.
I have an 82-year-old mom and she goes, well, just blame it on me. She goes, tell them that you have to take care of me like the whole time. And yeah, she goes, you'll be fine. Even though she's 82 and drives and does everything else, lives by herself. But
Oh,
that's
her.
I'm gonna work on that one.
That's great though that she's doing all that.
Yeah.
She's a well, I can imagine she's a badass because you're mini badass from her. So that's awesome. Mama Ball.
Mama Ball's a badass. Yeah, Mama Ball. Yep.
I love it. So Taylor and Rachel. So Taylor and Rachel are gonna be taking the reins today. So I'm gonna try and pass the torch because host ghost or ghost host over here can be kind of type A and I tend to ask all the questions. But we wanted to kind of just kind of go further into the book, see what kind of things you have going on, some new upcoming projects. How's that been going? Telling us just a little bit about what's going on with the book, what kind of commentary you've received, things like that. We just want to know how that's going, and then we'll kind of get more into our humanitarian questions.
Absolutely. Everything actually has been going, pretty good so far. I have my publisher and my literary agent both went to the Frankfurt Book Fair in Germany, and they came back and said we had been accepted into. I posted it. I can't remember the name of it, but it's some distribution organization that goes to public libraries around the United States. So hopefully we're going to be in libraries, and I know they're trying to get it. She wanted the book to try to go into. I'm going to use the wrong word, but into something scholastic world, heading towards schools and colleges, just something on getting out and exploring the world and doing something different. So maybe this next year we're going to make it in those two pots. That'd be really cool.
It's exciting.
That'd be pretty cool. I substitute, so that'd be really cool if I end up seeing him in Scholastic. I'll be like, guys, I know him. Like,
That would be really cool.
right? That would be awesome. I would totally keep a copy. I would steal one from a kid and be like, guys, Kevin Ball, put that in there. I'm gonna keep this. It's okay. You don't need it. I'm gonna keep it.
Feeling books.
So I can read it.
I just told Morgan I needed to look at Target when I go tomorrow.
Well, getting it actually in the brick and mortar stores is a totally different monster versus getting it into their online thing. We realize that. Yeah, it's like even we're in like Barnes and Noble, Target, Books a Million, all these different places, but actually getting it into the store, you're probably not going to find it in Target unless you go online. Which
Okay. See, that's probably why I didn't see it.
Yeah, the big one right now, we're trying to get it in Hudson News in the airports. It's like my dream place. So it's just, but they have their own readers, and it's a little different process, but we all have time, so we're just gonna continue
It's
working
good to have
forward.
goals. It's good to have goals and like kind of visions because you're gonna want to know what direction you want to take that in. So that's amazing. And it's definitely a book that needs to be read by, I don't really think there's, and correct me if I'm wrong, but there really isn't a target market on this book because it can be read by young minds, middle-aged minds, older minds. Like I just think it's something that is so like versatile and needs to be read. Like so
Thank you.
anywhere that you can get it out to, any shelves that you can get it on. And I know last time we talked about sneaking it onto putting a small
actually-
stack.
Yes, I talked to the publisher about that too, and she's like, we're going to work on trying to get it into audiobook, but I guess they're, you know, that extends to different costs, trying to find who's going to read it, because I mean, I can write it, but if you don't want to hear me try to read it, I'd mess my own book up. So
Okay.
you got to find somebody good that can read, has a good voice.
Yeah.
You know, it's a dream. Who knows?
Huh?
Get Morgan
Said
Freeman.
Morgan Freeman.
No,
Morgan
because
Freeman.
I didn't even hear you say it, and immediately I was like Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman, that's a good one.
Dude, that'd be perfect. Or my pick also would be like McConaughey with that like nice
Yeah,
draw and everything. And
soothing. It's like butter.
yeah,
Mhm.
you want that. You want that. You want someone that, even if they don't care what the book's about, you like, okay, I'm gonna listen to this. This is good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I recently listened to a book and it was like every other chapter, it was like his perspective and then her perspective. And if she was talking in his perspective, he was doing like a higher like female voice. And I just couldn't do it. I don't know. It was just like, it was something about it. I just couldn't do it. I was like, this is a little odd. You couldn't get two people to do this.
Oh, it's easy. if you
Oh, it was
just
just
do
the one person doing both voices.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
That would
man
make me a
band.
little uncomfortable. I would be
I was
like,
just like, I was like, this,
that's
like
very
the man would do
like
a high-pitched
Shakespeare.
voice. Yeah.
Very Shakespeare. You know how like in Shakespeare they would have like guys playing women roles and doing like
Yes.
the high voices and the
Yeah.
I love that. But yeah, so um girls, I'm gonna kick it to you.
Right. I literally loved. So I just finished listening to you guys' last podcast, which was, I was like, Morgan, this was fantastic. I was like, you answered all of the right questions, all the things. And I just love listening to, you know, you growing up and like, you know, doing the things. And it reminds you, totally reminded me of my middle brother who had the video camera as a kid. This was like us in the early like 2000s. He had the camera. Him and his friends had what was called Stupid Stunts Unleashed. And they would get out in the backyard
Oh, yeah.
and they would be doing these crazy things on the trampoline and with their bikes and stuff like that. So I totally like resonated with that because, you know, he was our little stunt man. And then here's me. I'm 5 years older than him. And so we were so about like doing crazy stuff with our bikes. So we would ride our bike down the back deck stairs. And so this is my stuntman experience real quick. So I literally get up there and he wouldn't do it. I was like, you were such a little wiener. I was like, I'm going to do it. I get down there, I flip over the handlebars and I break my collarbone. And so he's always like held that against me of like, see, I didn't do it and look what happened to you. So it was just so like, I don't know how
Oh my
like
God.
the toll on your body that just takes, I bet.
Oh, it
Just all of it.
yeah, it definitely takes a toll on the body. We it's funny because like a lot of my friends and I, you know, grew up in the business together. We grew up, you know, like I said, like I told her, with Evel Knievel and all the 80s shows where there was just everything, you know, there was a storyline, but everybody was crashing something or something was on fire. And all the friends that I had that are my age, yeah, we laugh kind of, I mean, not laughing in a bad way, but, you know, every now and then, you know, you hear somebody that's been in an office their entire life or something, and, you know, they get up and you hear them talking about, oh my God, yeah, my back hurts and my leg hurts and, you know, this hurts and that hurts. And I'm like,
I was hit by
yeah,
a
try waking up at 50 when you've been hit by cars and falling down stairs and stuff. It's like, I feel really good. I still do. But yeah, every now and then you just realize that what we put our bodies through for the entertainment field is it's a lot. It's probably stupid.
What kind of makes me laugh is I wish I could have filmed Rachel's face. Because we filmed our episode the other night for True Crime Tuesday. We were talking about having you on, and we were talking about, you know, our episode. And so before she listened to it, she was like, I just wonder, like you just asked, like what kind of toll does it take on the body? And I was like, did you know that they actually get hit by the car? I was like, I thought maybe that was just like and I think it was, you said 30 miles per hour max, right?
20.
20. Okay. So
Yeah,
I was
30
Up to
30 would
know
kill
that.
me. Yeah.
yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
okay, so I was over
And I'm really surprised you didn't tell your story of you getting hit by a car, Morgan, in that whole podcast.
That is my
You got hit by a car?
that's my husband's favorite story to tell
ahead.
because
Tell it.
he thinks it's so hysterical because I don't handle embarrassment very well. So I used to be a really like big runner. So I ran probably every day, morning, noon, and night, whenever I had the time, in between cheerleading and stuff. And so I used to run. There's a place by me called Montville, and the roads there were kind of wonky because it was a little bit more like city like, but it had more like traffic there. So I was running across like it was one of those weird like there was no sidewalk, but then you had to cross the road, and it was like kind of like a little like piece of road that stretched out, and there was like a crosswalk that came through there. And some lady was definitely not paying attention. I became a hood ornament. Yeah.
Well, you know the
and
feeling then. You know what
Yeah.
it feels like because when you get hit by a car, it's not up to you. Your body just instantly goes in the direction of that thing.
literally like what I don't know why, but I like my body like, and I couldn't even tell you because my aunt was like, well, how did you know to like turn? It was just like one of those things where I just kind of like a knee-jerk reaction. I did one of these and I turned into like a board. So like no joke, because I was wearing shorts. My husband laughs when I tell it because I'm like, all you heard was the sound of my butt cheeks just kind of going like onto the hood. And then I was like checking everything. I'm like, am I dead? Am I good? Like, and then I like hopped off the hood of her car and was like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And she was
Apologize to
like looking
her.
at me and like yelling at me. And then thank God, like I was like, I'm fine. I was like, really, it's fine. Everything's fine. Like, and I just like hopped up and was just like, I'm gonna keep running. And there was a guy in a pickup truck behind her. And he like hopped out. He's like, are you all right? He's like, you need to pay attention, and started yelling at this lady. And he's like, can we get you an ambulance? I was like, no, everything's fine. I was like, don't yell at her. I'm sorry. And like, I just continued to run
God.
home, and I ran because my aunt's house, she lived like 4 or 5 blocks from us. But she was not far from where I was. So I ran to her house, and she immediately like grabs the bag of frozen peas and is like sticking it on because all she saw was like grill marks like on my thighs.
Oh God.
And she was like frozen peas on each thigh. She's like, I gotta call your grandma. And so she calls her. My grandma's like, what? So then I see the little Saturn view come flying around the corner, and she's like, did you get the license plate? I was like, no, really, there's no need for conflict. Everything's fine. I was like I was so embarrassed. So my husband thinks it's hysterical because like I was apologizing to the lady even though she hit me with her car. And so that was my story. It's actually a family favorite. I think my family tells everyone that story because they're like, Morgan's the only person in the universe that would get hit by a car and apologize.
Amazing.
Well, I mean, you and I have that in common then, because the only difference with your hit and my hit sometimes is that when I do it, then they look at it in the camera and they go, no, it doesn't look like you have to do it again. Oh, okay, no, we have to do it again. No, okay, no, that doesn't fall this way. Okay, go to the other side of the car. So
at least you knew it was coming.
yeah, I knew it was coming. You don't know what's coming, so you did better than I did.
I was just happy. I remember the first thing I said was I was like, when I got to my aunt's house, I was like, is my iPod broken? She was like, Morgan, she's like, how is your back broken? Like, is that your ankles broken? She's like, you're worried about your iPod? I was like, I need this to run. I was like, if my iPod's broken, I was like, I can't afford another one. And she was like flabbergasted. She's like, I can't believe this is the child that we all have raised. Like, she's like, I cannot believe we make you watch all these safety shows and they teach you all these things in school about looking both ways. She's like, you get hit by a car, you say sorry to the lady, and then you're asking, is your iPod okay? So yeah, but so when you get hit by the car, I don't know if we talked about this last time, but do you ever go through the windshield, or the windshield's glass, or are they just open?
No, they're glass.
Okay.
We hope they don't go through the windshield. Normally, it depends on if they want you to go onto the hood of the car and stop, if they want you to go all the way up onto the roof and over the backside of it. Sometimes they want you to go up onto the windshield and then they hit the brakes and you shoot off the front of it. So, I mean, it just depends on, what the scene calls for. But normally, anytime we do a hit like that, we take clear window tint and we have it put on the outside of the window.
Oh.
So when you do hit the window, even if it shatters, you don't get any sharp edges cutting you. So it kind of keeps you from going all the way. Even if you go all the way through, it just kind of encompasses your body on like a clear tint instead of actually the glass. So we do a lot to protect, and then we're padded up too. You know, we have elbows, knees, back pads, whatever we can fit underneath the wardrobe.
I mean, that's wild.
I was
So
just very
scared.
surprised I didn't hear that in the episode about you.
Yeah.
Are.
No, that was the one time where I forgot to tell that story. Rachel just can't believe that like a meteor hasn't come out of the sky and like hit me yet.
Morgan has just lived 1,000 lives, and all of the things have happened to her. So
That's why
Yeah.
she and I get along. Our
Yeah.
our conversation turned from let's discuss certain topics to a typical podcast of we just talked for like what, an hour
2
and 45
hours.
minutes, 2 hours. Yeah.
And our like initial like pre-screen phone call like prior to the podcast, that was a podcast episode in itself.
That was 2 hours.
Yeah, that was another 2 hours. So like we've talked a lot. But I mean it's just because you do such wide ends of the spectrum. Like there's so much to you. Like I'm gonna use a Shrek quote here, but you're like an onion, you have layers. So like we gotta we gotta peel back the layers and like unpack, who is Kevin Ball? What is I see I can't talk. Kevin Ball about. That was a tongue twister. And kind of just like I kind of wanted to talk more, do like kind of like a 50-50 on this podcast, get more stuff about like your stuntman background. Because I think for people to truly understand like your humanitarian background and that beautiful mix that you have kind of going on, they need to know more about your stuntman background, hear some stories about that, and then kind of get more about the humanitarian side.
Sure. And you ask away. What do you want to?
I actually have a question. I wanted to
Yes.
know what your favorite stunt job was, and then what your least favorite stunt job was.
Favorite and least favorite. Actually, the one you guys met me on in Chiller for the whole Jeepers is still probably one of my favorite. I'm just saying that because it's kind of what brought us all together. But we didn't know where it was going. We didn't even know it was going to be that big of a character, and it was like a kind of a family group because one of my good buddies, one of my best friends, got the stunt coordinating job for that show, and I had just helped move him out to LA, and he spent, we got him out there, we got him all set up in California. He started working. He called me up and he said, "Hey, I've got this job back in Florida. It's in Tiberias, which is his hometown." He's like, "We can stay at my parents' house." And so it was just kind of like a good family. I mean, it was actually a family movie. All of our friends came in. We had a lot of control over what we were doing, and it was just a fun, just a fun environment. A lot of the lower budget movies, believe it or not, are the ones that seem to be, I've had a lot more fun on. It's when you get into the 200 $300 million these giant blockbusters and you're working on it, you're just kind of a number. Nobody really pays attention to who you are. It's like, oh, the stunt guys, well, let's put them here, let's put them there. If we hurt them, we can get more. It's like I had a love-hate relationship with Godzilla because it was Godzilla King of Monsters was like, another one of my favorite movies to work on, and also one of my unfavorite to work on because I was doubling Kyle Chandler, and I have gone back for many, many years. So we're good friends. I've been doubling him on a lot of different movies. And when Godzilla came up, it was like, okay, cool. I get to go double him. It's a cool movie. But it was just so big and so much money. And, it was weird. You'd get called to set some days and you would spend 10 hours just sitting there doing absolutely nothing, waiting to do something, go back home, come back, do the same thing again. Always under the stress of the big production companies. They would be out there, just watching. And I don't know, sometimes the more money that's involved, sometimes the less fun it is.
I feel like the smaller the company or the smaller the movie, you probably have more fun because they like can focus on everyone more, whereas when you're like a bigger set, they're kind of like you said
Yes.
before, like you're just a number. So like I
Yeah.
can definitely see why you would like the smaller movies better.
Yeah, it's. I mean, when you're growing up in the business or getting started, you want to do the big ones. Everybody wants to do, the giant budgets and stuff. But after many years in a business, yeah, you realize that if you're working with your friends and people it's just a much better job. Just like any job you would do anywhere else. If you're with close people, the safety is going to be better. Your buddies have your back versus an entire. If you're doing a big scene and there's 20 or 30 people you've never met before and you're running across the battlefield or something, nobody's going to pay attention to what's going on. If it's a smaller group and everybody knows each other, someone's going to push you out of the way. Somebody's going to blow up under your feet.
I feel like the smaller movies though, sometimes those ones are like the golden like gems, like Jeepers Creepers. Like you worked on a
Yes.
small set and it became such a huge thing.
Yeah.
So
11 million. I think it was $11 million.
that's crazy.
What's
Yeah,
the
because
budget
Jeepers
on that one
Creepers is
we
supposed to
did?
be a small budget film.
Yeah, but those are the
Yeah.
best
Kinda like
ones. I
Hocus
love those
Pocus.
kinds. The small
Hocus
budget ones are
Pocus,
the
when it
best
first
ones.
came out, was deemed like they said that was like the worst movie that came out that year, and they said Hocus Pocus was terrible, and it didn't actually take off and like make charts and like make a like money and stuff like that until like way after the fact.
Really? It's a good movie.
Yeah, and I'm like,
Love it.
Hocus Pocus that's like a fan classic. I feel like it's like a Halloween staple. So yeah, but that was supposed to be one of those things where they like anticipated it being like really good, and then when it took off, it was like, again, small budget, but when it caught, it caught.
That's also like the Halloween movie. Did you guys ever hear about the Halloween mask? Like the story behind the Halloween mask? So they actually had
William Shatner.
Yeah, it actually was a William Shatner mask, and they like picked it up and then they like destroyed it. And then no, like if you ask most people, they probably won't even know it's a William Shatner mask. They're like, oh no, it's the Michael Myers mask.
Somebody said Mariah
Oh, yeah.
Carey, and now I can't unsee it.
Mariah
been-
Carey.
If you look at it, they made a meme, and it was the Michael Myers mask, and they were like, everybody keeps saying that this is a William Shatner mask, but they're like, all I see is Mariah Carey. So they added her hair to it. And when you add the hair to it, you'll never see it the same. So either you're
not gonna look
curious
that
and
up.
want to see
Oh,
it,
I'm
or
totally
don't
going
look
to.
because it's gonna ruin it forever.
Oh
I
my
love
God.
Yeah. So just kind of I know I'm like always I'm gonna hand the reins to you guys, but then it's like, oh, I have a question.
Why am I always the one that looks at the pictures that I shouldn't look up?
Oh,
Like,
that's
why?
right. Because you are our little troublemaker.
He looks beautiful though. All right, so I gotta ask your questions. I got this.
So-
He's beautiful though.
Did I ask you last time if you had worked on any other horror movies? I don't think I got to ask
I
you
don't think
that.
we got to that one. I did House on Haunted Hill.
I love that movie.
House on Haunted Hill or Haunting of Hill House?
No, I love
House on Haunted
House
Hill
on Haunted
with
Hill.
Okay.
That's a
Jeffrey.
good
I
one.
doubled Jeffrey Rush on that one, on the sequences we did in Orlando, because they filmed a lot of it in, I believe, California, but then they came to Universal to do some stuff, and then we did a bunch of scenes in a dive tank, all the underwater stuff that they did, and a really weird scene where he was drowning
Yeah.
underneath the bathtub. Yeah, we did all that in the Disney MGM Studios in a dive tank out there. So that was
that's
a
pretty
fun one.
neat.
Yeah, that was a cool one.
I caught my error, and I was like, oh gosh, I'm like, our listeners, I should probably correct myself on this episode before they catch it and absolutely roast me alive. But remember last time we were both talking about, we said House on Haunted Hill, but we were talking about Haunting of Hill House. And I was like, was it the Richard Price one and it's Vincent Price? And I was like, I don't know why I said Richard Price, but like I was cracking up at that when I listened back to it, and I was like, okay, I gotta correct myself. I meant Vincent Price. But House on Haunted Hill is
Pryor, whatever.
Yeah, I'm like, that's probably what I was thinking of. I'm like, as soon as my the way my ADD brain works, as soon as I hear that word association, it's like I don't even think about it. It just comes out, and I'm like, dear Lord, that sounded so silly. But yeah, like I wanted to ask you that because I was like, obviously, like one of the bigger things, when we met you, you were citing for Jeepers Creepers, and you're the
Reaper.
I got it wrong last time.
The creep. Yes.
I said the creep. I was
creeper.
like, you were the creep.
Thank
No,
you.
the
I'm the creep.
creeper.
Calling people creep.
So I was like wondering, I'm like, wait, I don't think I asked you if you had worked on any other horror movies. Do you like have a genre that you typically like better than others?
I don't know. They're all fun. I mean, I like it when I can. I happen to be, like average height, average build. Basically a blank slate for a lot of actors. So the fun ones are when you get on just like doubling an actor on the whole movie, whether it's a horror movie or an action adventure movie or any. I mean, I guess the best one, the ones we like to do the most are just something that's different.
Yeah.
If you get flown, if you're doing like Jungle Boat or something, you get flown down the middle of some weird country and you're in it, for 3 months playing around in different places. Those
Yeah.
are the fun ones.
Where's the most like exotic place that you've been? Not aside from humanitarian stuff, stuntman wise.
Stuntman wise, not very. I mean, Panama maybe. I don't know. We did basic.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't. Puerto Rico. I did a movie in Luxembourg. That was pretty good. The only time I'd ever been to Luxembourg. If you have a chance to go to Luxembourg, try it out. It's really neat.
Is that is it Germany?
It is a tiny country in the middle of France, Germany, and I can't even remember where else. And it's like
Okay.
a giant banking country, and they speak every language you can imagine. It's a
I feel like
really
I've
neat
heard of
little.
it. It's like,
It's a cool little place.
okay, cool. Yeah, because I was like, I never like I know like on the humanitarian side of things, that has taken you multiple places overseas. But I wasn't sure if, because I know sometimes with the more after meeting you, kind of doing more research on like stuntmen and women and kind of how it works and where the job sometimes takes you. One of the things that I had seen a lot was people commenting, oh well, it takes you like neat like places, like you get to see a lot of new places. And I was like, well, maybe if they haven't been overseas and seen some of the things that Kevin's seen, I'm like, because I'm sure the humanitarian side of things has really showed you a lot more and probably has been more eye-opening.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
No. You're correct. When you go over to do like one of my really good friends has been doubling Harrison Ford for years, and like they did the last Indiana Jones movie and the Star Wars movies. And when you go over on a film, I mean, obviously you spend a lot of time working. You're put up in a really nice hotel. You're flown over, in somewhat opulence, and uh, you don't really, if you go to a location to film, that is a location that, I mean, might be more like if you're on a humanitarian level, you're going to go there and you're going to work. If you go there to film a movie, you're going there, the location has been chosen, you go there, they drive you there, you go to your trailer, you film your scenes, you go to the set, you turn around, you go back, they drive you back to the hotel. So you do get to see a lot of really cool places, but a lot of times when, the only time you get to explore these countries is like if you're not working on the film. Other than that, you're just point A to point B the whole time.
That, I mean, that makes sense though, because I feel like, yeah, because then if you're kind of dealing with like Hollywood or like some of these bigger companies, it's a little bit more glam than, as we all know, humanitarian side of things can get. Because I mean, you're gonna be more hands-on, getting your hands really dirty, aiding, whatever it is that you're kind of there for. So that was kind of one of the things I want to kind of now start to cross over into the book and like getting more deeper into you and your humanitarian side. So I know we kind of had touched upon, where you started off with humanitarian, like basically you picked up a camera with your friend, you flew out, you guys put out kind of your first documentary, and then you got linked up with Cindy McCain and you started to do that, and that kind of took you some incredible places. So I guess just from where we were last, just paint your next destination for us.
I do have the
I was just about to ask.
I would say I wasn't gonna surprise, but I do have the moose cup, but it is filled with scotch. So,
I love it.
I had to go all the way. So as she's off to the side
And
having a little
passing
cough.
out.
What was the? She's passing out. Oh my god! What was the? What was the ending of that question? She's gonna pop back up. In
We're
a
never
second.
gonna know
We're
now.
gonna
Until
keep
she
this
comes.
going on.
I swear, I'm hacking up along. So what I was saying is like kind of from where we had left off last time.
Chaos.
Where did that, like, what was your next stop from there? So I know where we had kind of left off was we only mildly got into like your chapter of like when you met Cindy McCain, and then that started to kind of unfold. We kind of ended things around there. So how did things kind of transpire after you met her? And what were your next adventures from there?
Okay. Well, like you and I talked, we met her in the landmine fields over in Cambodia because of the organization that she was working with on the board of directors with a group called the Halo Trust, and we just we all hit it off. Me and her assistant and all of us just kind of we just bonded. And after we left Cambodia, John and I came back. We started filming. We started editing the pieces of a documentary together for the group that we were over there with. And about 3 months later, I went off to do a movie called Mad Money with Queen Latifah, and I forget who the other actresses were.
And Queen Latifah's your favorite.
And Queen Latifah, I love Queen. Yeah. If she ever listens to anything, I got such a crush on Queen Latifah. She's adorable.
She's the best.
So yeah, we were doing that one. I was up in Wilmington, North Carolina, filming that one, and I got a call from Cindy's assistant, and she said, hey, Cindy really liked you guys. Do you want to come off with us or come with us and do a mission for Operation Smile? And she's like, do you know what Operation Smile is? And I knew a little bit about what the organization did with the cleft palate surgeries with children, but not in detail. And then she's like, okay, so Cindy and I are going to come up for the surgery session of it, which is about a 3-day period, but we want you guys to go from day one to see how everything is put together. So she hooked us up with her their travel agent. We got tickets. They flew us out, and next thing you know, John and I are in. This was Vietnam, and we basically just kind of like infiltrated this entire organization just to see what it was about. We spent 5 days with them before Cindy got there, which is the period when they do all all the children. They set up this big area in either a hospital, a parking lot, wherever they can find, and they do these screenings. So they bring all the children in, and they do. There's medical teams that do screenings to see if the children are healthy enough, what the surgery would entail, whether it's a full palate, a cleft palate, just a lip, a double lip, and then they do basically all the doctors get together and they figure out who they're going to be able to operate on, and they put all the names together. They have another day where they post all the names for the people that are allowed to have the surgeries, and then from there they schedule everything out, and then they do like 3 to 4 days of surgery. So that was our first mission with that type of thing. So we went from landmine fields on our own, just trying to figure out what to do, to a developing country with children's facial surgeries in these hospitals that nobody here would ever even think about going to. And Cindy flew in, I think flew in on day 3 or 4, and then hooked up with us. And then we just, from that point, we filmed her as she like revolved through the entire mission. And this is about the same time that her husband, John, was going to start announcing he's running for president. So it was kind of one of those scenarios where we were doing a double thing. We were helping put footage together for Operation Smile. We were also filming what she needed, for the humanitarian side for her. So that kind of like, that was the one that kind of like pushed us forward with her. We went from our own money, doing stuff on our own. This is really cool. We're going to have an adventure, to realizing that, oh, there's something we can do here on a grander level. And there are people like her that are going to want to bring us on board. So that kind of, that was the door that opened for us.
Are there other organizations, besides Operation Smile that you work
Oh,
with?
yeah, many. It basically, what we figured out was that if we kept just like running our mouth and asking about things, and we could just keep going. So we went with Operation Smile. A couple of the members of the original organization that we went out with, Freedom Fields, they had family that were working on like dental missions. We got in touch with them, and then we hooked up with the organization called International Health Emissaries, and we did 3 or 4 different missions with them. But each time we would get into a country, you would find that the organization that you were going over with in that country, there might be like a host company or a host organization that supported them. So then we would just keep branching out. So we would go to like maybe Guatemala, and we would work with an organization there that was doing dental surgery. But through them, we found out that the group that was bringing them in was a group of nuns that had another organization. So then we just basically asked, do you need anything? And they're like, well, sure. So then we would travel out with that one. And I mean, other than traveling with Cindy, most of the time we paid our own way. Everything was donated. We bought our own tickets. We put ourselves up. We did what we could, and then we donated all the footage that we filmed back to the organizations, just to try to help them build more awareness towards what they were doing.
Wow. So kind of going back, I was, as Morgan was dying, but it's all right now. Everything's great.
We're all dying right now. It's fine.
Yeah, it's all.
It's Christmas. Everybody's got
We need like a coughing intermission. Good
This
lord.
is a coughing episode.
Oh, play "Girl from Ipanema" every time in a black screen, we all cough.
Yes.
I'm gonna take a deep breath.
Oh my gosh.
So one of my questions I had was about being a stunt double to a specific person. Are there certain people you would work with, or if it's a specific actor that's like, hey, I always work with this person, or is it like, hey, I want this stunt guy? Like, how does that kind of work?
Well, the dream of any stunt professional is to get on with an actor that you click with, and then they just put you in their contract, and they're like, okay, this is my stunt double.
Okay.
So I have friends. My good friend Jimmy Waitman is Jack Black's stunt double. He's been doubling
Jack
him.
Black.
I think the first one he doubled him on was the Lucha Libre, the wrestler movie.
Oh
And
my
they hit it off.
gosh, that's my
God.
favorite.
He has doubled Jack Black ever since. And I mean, they got so close that they go on vacation together. They watch each other's kids. One of my other friend doubles Steve Carell. Mike doubles Harrison Ford. So anytime you can get in with an actor, that's the goal as a stunt person. Because
So who's your person?
Kyle Chandler.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he did a lot of movies back in the 80s when he was younger. He was known for Coach on Friday Night Lights. And then the one a lot of like younger people would remember was Bloodline on Netflix.
Yeah.
So I met him on Bloodline. Yeah, I started doubling him on Bloodline. And then from Bloodline, we went to do Game Night, which was just a blast. And then Godzilla King of Monsters. There's a couple others. And then COVID hit. And then obviously our industry kind of like shut down for a while. And then now the strike is finally over, but the strike shut us down again for another almost year.
And
But yeah,
Sorry, I
no,
feel like I should have rephrased that. I meant like, so you are Kyle's stuntman. Who, like, I guess would be your bucket list stuntman? Is it still Kyle?
knowing him, yes.
Okay.
I couldn't pick a better person. I've doubled Jim Carrey, Keanu Reeves, like Jeffrey Rush. I get pulled in to do a lot of different people. Like, again, just because when you're like 6 foot tall, like just normal build, brown hair, brown eyes, you kind of fall into that realm of you can get pulled in to double a lot of people.
Oh.
But the problem is you never know if it's going to be like, I double anybody that needs to be doubled, but sometimes you run in and it's just like a total asshole.
Yeah.
One of my friends has been doubling Tim Allen for years, and it took like 5 movies before Tim actually even announced this, like, oh yeah, this is my stunt double. So he just chased him down.
Wow. I could see
I've
that.
I've heard though a couple of things about Mr. Allen.
Never met him, never worked with him. He's made a lot of money for a couple of my good friends. So
Okay, well then that's a benefit. I
Yeah.
am very much a person like I'm not gonna judge until I meet you, but I'm like just be a decent human being.
I'm
Yeah,
kind of
I mean-
curious. Oh no, go ahead. Go ahead. I'll ask after. Go ahead.
I don't even remember what I was going to say.
That's me all the time. No, I was just gonna say, was there anybody that you ever like regretted working with, or was there ever a stunt position that you regretted doing?
I'm not going to give out any names per se, but
Yeah,
You
no
can- you
names.
can
I was
you
gonna
can
say no
ride.
names with this business, but
We'll
maybe
call them- we'll
just
call them
worked
John
with a
Doe.
few- yeah, I've worked with a few John Does that are way too full of themselves, and
gave you the ick.
the industry doesn't really care for them. They happen to get, for some reason, they keep getting jobs, but and stunt wise that I wouldn't do. I mean, when you're younger, growing up in a business, you kind of want to do anything that pops your way. As you like get older, I mean, I won't do car hits anymore.
Morgan will do it.
Yeah,
I got you. I
You
got you.
got
I
me.
bounce.
That one.
we can do
Morgan
it.
in
It's
there.
baby.
perfect. Steer
I'm not
falls
good at
hurt really
bikes.
bad.
Oh, I didn't even think about
Um,
stair falls. I don't think we covered that last time.
No, and it depends on where you're at. Like if you're in a hotel and it's like those big, like super wide stairs and they're padded, yeah, you can figure out a way to get down them. But I mean, I've been in scenarios before with friends when you're like on a ship and it's those like little, narrow stairs and it's like metal. I've had friends had to fall down escalators. I
Escalators freak me out.
try falling down one.
I was gonna say I would much rather fall down a flight of stairs with like
Me too.
spikes than an escalator.
Mhm. It's like it wants to eat you, even when
Yeah,
you
I
just
just
like.
don't. I've seen you never see those like terrible escalator videos like that
Those
gone
scare
wrong.
me. I'm always scared I'm gonna fall in an
Get sucked
escalator.
in the side of them. Ugh.
Yeah, when it like grabs somebody's shoelaces or pants leg and they're like
Yep.
fighting
Gone.
it, and then yeah.
Yeah,
There
this
are,
is
like,
probably why I'm
certain-
a hermit.
Are there certain stunts that you're like, this is it? Like, what's your your best thing, your favorite thing? Like, I will do this every time.
I was always a ground pounder. I mean, if like in the words, like I loved the and still do like the physical stuff when you're doing a big fight scene like in a store and you're like getting thrown through shelves, and just there's like a difference in what they would call like a high fall, where there's like big airbags and stuff, and you're coming off like top of buildings, versus if you're coming off like maybe I don't know 5-6 feet up and somebody's tackling you and you just hit the ground. And I love that one. Those are the ones that you got so much adrenaline going, you don't feel it. I mean, you feel it later, but those are just the fun ones, getting thrown through doors and breaking through windows, and just that hard hitting stuff is really fun.
Okay, so I have a question for Kevin. Kevin, have you ever used a breakable bottle? Or
Yes,
have you ever
many
been
times.
smashed with a
Those
breakable
things
bottle?
are
It looks like so much fun.
gross.
I asked Matt if I ordered like a 5-pack off Amazon if he'd let me to just like WWE smash one over his head because it
No,
just looks
see,
like a great time.
I can't speak for you, Kevin, but I dealt with one once in my life when I was a theater kid and I was backstage. I was one of like the backstage theater kids. So I was always doing the crew stuff, and we did Jekyll and Hyde one year, and they did the glass bottle. And we thought it would be a great idea, being that we were teenagers. We had to pick up the pieces when we were done. And what did we do? We put them in our mouth because
You
we
eat
were
them,
told,
yeah.
yeah,
It was-
it tastes disgusting. It's great cracking, but it tastes disgusting.
Well,
Oh,
okay, I can give you I'll go a little background on that. Back in the early days of Hollywood, it was actually candy glass. It was made out of sugar. and that's why they called it sugar glass. And what they would do is they would use I don't even remember the formula, but they would do a formula and they would make bottles and everything out of this sugar glass. And it was like edible, but it wasn't created because it was edible. It was created because the substance would work. Now the problem with sugar is that when you're shipping it in the heat, it melts. So if they had a window in a Western set where they were going to throw somebody out of, and they actually had the original sugar glass windows put in there, if it was in a hot environment, after a while, you would actually see the sugar would start melting in the
Oh,
That's
glass.
crazy.
So I I have to look it up to see exactly when they created it, but they went from sugar to a plastic polymer creation, which is probably what you chewed on,
It
which
most
has
likely
no
was. It was
flavor
a yeah, no.
whatsoever.
It kind of
Yeah,
tasted like plastic.
leave it
but
up
they
to
call
Taylor
it
to be the
a
one to
Yeah.
try one of those bad boys.
No, but what was worse
Yep.
was that we picked it off the ground. So like think of like being on a theater stage that's been around for like God knows how long, and you're picking up the pieces where everybody's been stepping.
Yeah,
and
but
then
now you'll survive
put it
the
in your mouth.
apocalypse.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
your
No,
immunity will
I
be
just built my
A1.
Live
immune
forever.
system.
they do make a particular type of glass that you can eat. For those like weird vampire movies and stuff where somebody grabs hold of something. So there is still like a sugar-based glass that they'll create, but what we normally use is kind of a light plastic-based stuff.
Mm.
But what a lot of people don't know, really, it'll still cut you if you don't use it right. I mean, if you take a bottle and rake it across somebody's face, I mean, it still has sharp edges on it. So there's techniques.
Yeah,
But yeah,
that would be my luck. They'd be
I
like,
have a lot of
"Psh,"
it at
and I'd be like, my
WWE.
eye.
I have boxes of it there. There's a couple companies out of California that make, we get online and we look at everything they have, and we order like plates and cups, and you never know when they're going
Oh
to have,
my
one of
gosh.
those scene where somebody barges into somebody's office and like throws glasses onto the ground. And a lot of time it's not to hit somebody with, it's just to throw it up against a wall and smash it.
Oh my gosh. I want to like freak my neighbors out. I want to
I'll give
like,
you
you guys want
I'll
to have
give
a
you the
fight
link.
scene in the circle? I'm inviting all three of you to a fight scene in the circle by my house. We have like this, we live on like kind of like a cul-de-sac, but it's not because it has like multiple exit points. But in the middle is like this big like mini park. And it's just like a green circle with nothing in it. And it's perfect for a fight scene. Put on some action music. You bring the sugar glass and we'll just like smash stuff over each other. And my neighbors are gonna be like, what is happening?
yes,
No one will
yeah,
ask
That'd be the
questions. It's the
best.
holidays.
I'll send you the link. I'll give you the link later about where to get the
Oh
stuff from.
no.
She'll actually get it. That's the crazy part.
Yes.
Oh yeah, it's fun. And then I'll talk her through it so she doesn't hurt anybody.
Smart. Because yeah, we can't trust Morgan. She can't be trusted.
That's
I
always my, like,
can. I'm such a
intrusive thought.
child.
Throw the coffee cup on the ground. Like that's my intrusive thought there.
You should
Come on,
like,
Morgan, your
we
coffee
shouldn't
cup.
tell any of our like respective spouses, and we'll just like go in the kitchen, pretend like we're preparing something, be like, you know what? I'm sick of it, and just smash it. And they're gonna be like, sick of what? And be like,
Oh,
I'm just sick
smash
of
it
it.
against your head. That's even better.
You're
If
right.
you just
Oh my
look at
gosh,
them
I
and just like
smack
smash a glass, or
That would crack me
Love
up.
it.
Like, I swear, I have a sick sense of humor. But getting back
No.
to my humanitarian questions, because there is one that I'm dying to ask. I saw it on LinkedIn and it kind of was like, I was like, wow, this is kind of fitting for our call with Kevin. So, one of the things that I feel like I've seen a lot of is humanitarians kind of staying within their comfort zones. And I saw this question that was like, do you think that humanitarians need to step outside their comfort zones and provide aid in high conflict zones where aid support is needed? So, like the places that you've been, do you feel that humanitarians are stepping outside of their comfort zones to support high conflict areas, or do you feel like they kind of tend to stay in their comfort zones and it's something that we need to change? Sorry, I know it's
Two-part
kind of a
answer.
loaded question.
No. Two-part answer to that. One, I think that everybody needs to step out of their comfort zone, especially when it comes to like the humanitarian world. It it's just a place, we all have this level of comfort. And I mean, that's the only way to put it. You step out, you step out and you're like, oh, this seems weird. But you go for it and you do it. When it comes to a lot of organizations, there are a ton of organizations that like gravitate towards those environments. They don't
Yeah.
necessarily run away from. I mean, I have friends right now in Poland that have opened up an orphanage, or not necessarily an orphanage, but a center for children that are coming out of the Ukraine, and they're taking in the kids over there because there's there's a lot of, especially in Ukraine, Russia, the Eastern Bloc, that whole area. I mean, it's known for trafficking, and anytime you have an area like a situation like a war that pops up in that area, the first, the children are the ones that suffer, a lot, because they have something to offer outside of like a war environment. So there's a lot of organizations that are going in to help rescue the children in that environment. The Ukraine, especially, what's going on in over in like Gaza in that location. I guess it's different trying, I can kind of like place it to where people can understand, like when you're on an airplane and they say, if the masks drop, put the the oxygen mask drop from the roof, put the mask on yourself before you try helping anybody else.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it is in like locations of war.
Okay.
You want to go and help. You have to make sure that you are in a position that you're not going to run in and just die, because if you do, you're not going to be able to help anybody.
True.
So
it's a good way to put it.
Yeah. So a lot of organizations will like be on the outskirts, and that's what's happening in still in Ukraine. The countries around the outside area, they'll come in, they'll help pull people out, and they'll take them out to locations outside where they can help them. In a full-on war zone, it's a little different because you're not getting any support from, any government. They've been opening up they've been opening up, I guess it's called ceasefires over in Gaza, so that certain organizations can come in and can take supplies in that are needed into that or in that area, and then they head back out. But you never know, you don't want to be in an area unarmed with a truckload of supplies heading in to help civilians when you get in there and the opposing forces might come in and just take everything for themselves. So it's in those type of environments, it's tough, but
It's
there are still plenty
tricky.
of places around. Yeah, there are plenty of places around that you can go and help.
Now, and as the kind of the second part to that question is, what do you personally view as the biggest humanitarian crisis that we have going on right now? Worldwide. So like entire world, not just the US, not a specific area, but worldwide.
Wow.
And is there ways that people in the US can help?
There's a couple things. Believe it or not, human trafficking right now is like one of the biggest that's out there. And I don't know if you and I talked about this last time, but the sex trafficking and the work trafficking rings that are going on, especially because there's so many, this isn't like trying to get political. It's always been here, but there's so many people coming across the southern border right now that are being thrown into either sex trafficking or work trafficking. And the work trafficking is almost exceeds the sex trafficking, because you see, there are people that are working in hotels that are basically, almost like indentured servants. So and they'll get into people's houses as a maid, and they will pay them just enough to keep them there, but won't let them out. So there's a huge problem right now with every form of of trafficking. I think is one of the biggest ones at the
Trafficking
moment.
and really modern day slavery, if we're going to call it spade a spade. I mean, that's essentially
Yes.
what that is.
Exactly. Very, very, very much so.
And are there
It
any
is modern day slavery.
organizations? Go ahead, sorry.
No, it is exactly, it is modern day slavery.
Is there any organizations that just your average civilian can either contribute to? Like, do you have any reputable um I guess nonprofits, things of that sort, organizations that either our listeners and us can donate to, any kind of volunteer efforts? Do you know of any off the top of your head to kind of assist with that?
Actually, Cindy McCain's McCain Institute is one of her biggest issues or biggest things she's been working on is human trafficking.
Okay.
So the McCain Institute, I work with another organization called the Rafa House. I think it's RAPHA House, and they are they're a Christian organization, but at the same time they're not. They work with everything. I've been with them in Haiti. They have basically what they do is they go into a country and they create a safe house, and they're in Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, and they moved into Haiti. And they pull the children that are being trafficked into an area. They give them a safe place to live, education, medical stuff, and then try to teach the kids there. Once they get them to a certain level, then they send those children out to bring in other children to the organization. So there's I'd have to actually write down a list of a few of them, and I can get them to you if you want to ever post it. But yeah, there's half a dozen that I know that are really.
I think that would be good. So we can share that, because one of the biggest things that I do strive with the podcast is making sure, like even when we had Holly Dunn on, letting our listeners know, we've reached outside of the US. Actually, I was very proud of our 2023 wrap up, because just from June, we've reached the UK, we've reached Jamaica, we've reached so many outside overseas places. So to know that we have listeners worldwide, you just never know who's going to hear something and say, hey, I like what they're saying. I resonate with that. Where can I get help? Where can I get resources? Because truthfully, when we hear some of the crises going on, you always know somebody, or know somebody that has a family member, or there's always some sort of connection there. And I mean, maybe I'm speaking for myself here, but it's like, I've worked with people before that, they're just trying to establish residency here in the US, and they have family that's still overseas, and they're dealing with, stuff that this family member came over here to get safe from. And they're like, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to come to a US citizen, and they're going to say, hey, what do you know? How can you help me? You never know when you're going to cross that kind of person, or when you're going to, what I'm saying? If you make friends with somebody, a coworker, could be somebody just on the street. Maybe you strike up a conversation with somebody and you're learning about their history. It just would be good for us to have those resources available and be able to recommend to people, because I think that that's one of the biggest things about being a humanitarian, is being able to offer, like you said, a safe space, a solution to maybe what somebody's going through, and just offering that hand to kind of pull them up, and then they can reach back and pull somebody else up. So I think it's just definitely a chain reaction. So having access to those resources, and kind of knowing our P's and Q's is important.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I can give you, off camera. I will, because I can't. I would give it to you right now, but I can't.
Oh, you're totally fine. No,
I'm like, I'm trying to rack my brain about the actual, groups and stuff. But no, I can link you up with a bunch of different organizations that that work both in the U.S. and outside of the country. And yeah, we can get a list of things on the side. So if anybody wants to know, you can actually, answer those questions yourself.
Yeah,
That'd be great.
absolutely. And even just for eventually, like if we ever get a website, I mean, I do try and post like on our link tree. I think the next thing that I'm gonna kind of work on is getting sorry, a
Don't you
link
die.
Some water.
tree. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, yeah,
right?
I'm like, I need a fire hose at this point. Lord. But yeah, so like I think I want to get together a link tree that has like a resource button where we can kind of allocate like resources that we've come along from, people that we've interviewed, and that we've, made great connections with. Because I think like I said, it's important to be able to, if somebody hears an episode and they're like, okay, how do I get in touch with that person, or how do I, get more information on this? And we can say, hey, just click on our link tree, go to the resource page, and here's some organizations that might be able to help you, whether it's human trafficking, domestic violence. I'm going to try not to choke here, but
She's
yeah.
choking up.
Well put there, Morgan.
You're doing great. You're doing great, sweetie.
I think last too, to kind of wrap up some of the humanitarian stuff, what are some future wishes or bucket list items you have for 2024 in regards to your humanitarian work? Anything for the new year?
Believe it or not, actually, to even like get back into it even more. I haven't worked with Cindy in a long time. We still keep in touch, but I had spent like a good 5 years, out of the country, working with different organizations. And then, I've had technology changes too. And that's like, I think I talked to her last technology. When I went out, you were filming on like little mini tapes. You would have to come back, download everything, edit everything. And the way technology has changed, a lot of the organizations that we would go out and film things for now, you could do everything on like a camera. A phone. So an iPhone now is comparable to what we were taking out in the field 10, 15 years ago. So we kind of found that there was like less of a need for an entire documentary group to go out and film different things. So advocating became more of a passion than actually documenting. So my goal is to continue on that, like to find organizations that I can actually step in for, be a voice for, advocate for, go over to the location, still film, still take photographs, but using what I have learned in the past to go over and actually bring back the knowledge of what these organizations are trying to do, and just to broaden the spectrum so that people can realize that they're out there. That's kind of where the goal is. My sister and I, my father, before he had passed, had always talked about doing like digging wells for some reason in different countries, and not knowing that I had already been there and done that. My sister and I continued to talk about, following some things that he wanted to do. So I think somewhere in 2024, I'm probably going to end up back in Cambodia again. There's a few organizations that I know that are working with the landmine organizations to find safe areas to dig wells for the people out there for safe water. Because again, like she was saying, what are the big topics? Human trafficking obviously is a huge one, but believe it or not, clean water is still, even in 2023, 2024, clean, safe drinking water kills more people, or unclean water still kills more people than anything else in the world. So, and it's just, there's simple fixes for these things. So drawing attention to it is probably the first thing to do. So that's kind of, I guess, I just need to get myself back out in the field again. I've been here for a while, and I miss boots on the ground in organization. I miss
bread
walking
and
around.
butter, the meat.
Yeah, I miss wondering what's around the next corner.
Well, yeah, I know. You're the whole time. It's just, I'm gonna be like, have you ever seen Powerpuff Girls? You know how you never saw the top of the character's head? That's gonna be me. It's just gonna be like just my shoulders and my back. So what I was gonna say to you, one thing I will say so I do photography on the side, and I just started to kind of get into videography, just for more like vlogging stuff, just kind of minute stuff to teach myself with this podcast. I came across this really neat little piece of equipment that I think that could be really good if you get boots on the ground and you start getting back into it in 2024. Just in case you want to start like a little vlog of, not so much a documentary, but just something where maybe like it's like a video diary, but it's called an Osmo Pocket. Have you heard of it?
I have not.
So it's this little I wish I had my bag right near me, but it looks like it's probably about this big. It's a little stick. It's 4K video, but what's really neat about it is it reminds me of like Wally, like the head of it. So like it turns and it spins and it does like it has a mobilizer already built in with it. So like when you walk or if there's like loud vibrations or it's constantly stable, it's cinema like quality. Like it just makes everything look smooth. It's great for vlogs. It's really not that expensive for I'm a big Osmo fan because I have a lot of their products. I have their drones, I have their stabilizers. And then when I saw that they kind of had mixed almost like a GoPro with a stabilizer in this tiny compact thing that I could just take, like literally I could slip it in my jeans pocket. It has a little screen on it and like it has face tracking. So if you set it up on like a little tripod, it'll follow you.
That is where technology is like
She's gone.
I will go to everybody. That's where technology right now is advancing for that type of documentary work because again what we used to have to take over was shoulder mounted cameras and tapes and like huge microphones and little things like she's talking about they make it a lot easier. So you can I can head over now to a place with a small handheld bag with drones and cameras and and do the same stuff I used to do with big cameras and big backpacks and big boxes and microphones. So
Pretty much doing
yeah.
your iPhone days.
Oh yeah, and the iPhone.
It's great. It's great. The Osmo Pocket is like it's my new little favorite piece of equipment because like it comes with I got the little creator bundle. I was like, it's only like I think it was like an extra $50, but it comes with like a little clip-on mic with like that muffler, and then it comes with like an extra wide lens, like a cute little, and it's just magnetic and everything just fits in the little case that it comes in. So like it just, I don't know, it blew my mind because I'm somebody that I like to condense things. I don't like carrying a ton of crap and like heavy stuff. So I meant to tell you that last time we were talking, and I was happy that it came across my brain this time because I think that, when you said you're kind of not as much the documentation portion, but more of the like meeting people and kind of getting boots on the ground and stuff like that. It's an easy way to kind of just pull it out, maybe document some stuff and then put it away. Like it doesn't have to be like a whole production, but it looks amazing. Like the quality.
Good. Yeah, that's kind of where that's perfect because like that's kind of where I am. I'd like to be able to go over with like a small backpack full of stuff, working for an organization and basically get the stories out without having to, make a full production of it. And I will. That's where 2024 is going.
I'm excited for you because that sounds like great goals. And I think 2024 is gonna be I'm gonna call it the year of the humanitarians because it's gonna need a lot of good hearts, a lot of love. I think I just 2023 was a rough year, and I think a couple of the years preceding COVID and everything has really changed things up. But in a way, I always said that COVID was a blessing and a curse because I do think it opened eyes to a lot of things. Like when we reflect back to September 11th, right? It was the most heinous day in history. It was horrible, but it was a time that brought us all together and really showed, sides of the humanitarians that were out there and the people that could come together and help one another. Didn't matter, it didn't matter anything. Like we were just there to comfort, to love, to spread that good vibe. And I feel like we need to get back there. And I think with COVID, we became isolated for so long and things kind of just went so far south that we realized that we need that socialization and we need more people more than we realize. Like humans are just very people oriented creatures. Like you could say like bah humbug, I don't need anybody. And there's times where I'm like, oh my gosh, like I never want to see another person as long as I live. But then it's like, you go like a week or two without really like hanging out with a friend or, having that like loving connection. And I feel like you feel it. So I feel like 2024 really needs to be a year of connection, of love, of helping one another. And I'm hoping that since a couple of years following COVID, things have been kind of south. And I feel like there's been a lot of bad crap on the news, and there's been a lot of just things ostracized more than they need to be, that I feel like we are coming together more as a human race and kind of rising above all of that negativity. And I'm gonna be that person. I'm gonna be that person. Me and Rachel said not to do this, but I think 2024 is going to be a better year. And I'm gonna call it the year of the humanitarian, because I'm gonna hope that that's what we do, is we reach our hands back for one another, and we leave the world a little bit better than it was yesterday. So I think that what you have going on, Kevin, and like your goals and your wishes for 2024, I love that you're going to be the contribution to that beautiful vision. And I just love you as a person. I think you're pretty cool.
Oh yeah, I think you're right. It should be a rebirth of humanity.
I
really
like
feel
that. That's a much simpler way. I was trying to figure out the words, but my brain's a little blown up from coughing so much. So I was like,
well, that's what happened after 9/11. We,
Yeah.
we found a rebirth of humanity, and then things kind of went one direction for a while. And I think we're at that point again where I think a lot of people are seeing that it needs to be a rebirth. And there's, it. I listened to I was listening to a micro podcast, not micro, but Mike Rowe, as in Dirty Jobs, podcast today. And I don't remember the woman. It was an NPR, spokesperson that was on with him, and what she would do, or her TED Talks were about getting people to talk and understanding, a little bit more of like humanity and kindness. And I've always used the word, empathy. And she, in one of her speeches, or her communications, was that like empathy is an internal like feeling that we have, but empathy breeds compassion.
Yeah.
And I never really thought about it, but she's like, compassion is like the step over empathy. She's like, you can be empathetic and you have these feelings of I want to help people, but compassion is the step above empathy, where you actually physically help people. So what I'm hoping is that we can breed another generation of people that, feel compassion and want to actually step out and, and just help and do things. I mean, it's not hard.
Yeah,
And
I agree with that. I think these are good wishes. It always makes me feel good to hear these kind of things. And know that there's still good people out there. Because I think, like we said on the podcast last time, it's hard when the media is very good at, like I said, ostracizing the negativity. And then when you actually go out into the world, I think you had said this, when you actually go out into the world, it's so different than what's displayed in media. And the kindness and compassion that you see is still there. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's people still trampling each other for TVs on Black Friday, but they trample somebody and then they reach a hand back and they're like, okay, that was kind of shitty of me. I'm really sorry about that. So like we're making strides. It's not full moon, okay, but we're crescent phase. We're getting
baby
there.
steps.
I agree.
Baby steps.
We gotta add a little comedy to the emotional before I start crying here.
Oh, absolutely.
So
okay,
but
so other questions. What do we got?
Yes.
I know there's
So
people have questions.
since we are getting close to our time here, I think we should have a little fun. I think we should enter our Christmas trivia Q&A. Since you're in the Festivus, what is that? Festivus of the rest of us.
And everybody laughs every time I pick up the moose cup and drink bourbon.
I love it.
Wait, see, what was funny was that I was looking at the list before, and one of the questions I wanted to ask was, what's your Christmas morning drink, eggnog or mimosa? But then I was like, nah, he's gonna say that. Of
Bourbon.
course, yeah, bourbon.
Oh, what?
Yeah, okay, so that's the first question.
All right, when it's not
but
bourbon,
he has to pick
put in your cup?
between eggnog or mimosa, because that's what's on the list.
Mimosa all the way.
Yes. See, this is why we get along, Kevin.
Yep. Peach mimosa.
Oh, how do you make a peach mimosa?
The same way you make an orange mimosa, but with peach.
But like, is it like
Wow,
peach
Morgan.
juice, peach champagne? Is it like peach? Like,
Peach
I don't know,
juice.
like, because people make
He really
things
did.
differently.
Just peach. Just peach.
Vegas, you want to tell her how to
Spices.
make it? I know you can
We'll
tell
put
her.
it in her breakaway glass and let her drink it out of that.
Listen, I am feeling attacked right now. I am shooketh. No, I'm just kidding. But no, but seriously, because like I know some people like will say like, oh, I make a peach mimosa and it's like peach schnapps in there with like orange juice and like a little
I do
jungle juice mix up, and I'm like, oh, that's not what I was thinking at all. So
I do peach juice, regular champagne, and then if we're feeling frisky, a little bit of like Grand Marnier on top.
see, I would not have known that. So now our listeners have a nice little mimosa recipe for Christmas morning, guys. Okay, I'm doing the next question. I'm just for that, you little gremlins. Okay, so I have to ask this one because it's a constant battle in my house, and I think I might be changing my views. Do you consider Die Hard to be a Christmas movie?
Uh, you know, I'll probably get a lot of flack for this too. I do not, because
See,
I
that's what I
never
said.
can
I don't either.
remember. I never remember that it's actually during Christmas because it's such an action movie.
I didn't
I
even know.
consider Christmas movies like the ones that are based around Christmas itself, not necessarily an action
Right?
adventure that happens to be in December.
The criteria, I just think I guess it's based on a person's criteria because that seems to be the biggest like controversy in households is Die Hard a Christmas movie? Okay, all
Well,
right, Rachel.
hang on. Somebody posted that Rambo, the original Rambo First Blood, was also in December. And if you look in the sheriff's office, there are Christmas trees around. So Rambo could actually be First Blood could actually be classified as a Christmas movie if Die Hard is.
What?
Oh. Okay, that's interesting.
I saw that
I'm
last
gonna
week.
I'm gonna bring that one up to my husband because he's gonna think he's immediately gonna be like oh, I gotta watch it now.
Yep, it's in Christmas.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna check that out. I did not know that.
Yeah, but see, that
Okay.
makes me think of like Nightmare Before Christmas, and I'm probably gonna get a lot of heat for this. I only consider that a Halloween movie. Like I know it comes around Christmas time and stuff. People like to watch it then, but I only watch it during Halloween. Really,
Yeah,
that's just
same.
me though.
We
Yeah.
never watch it during Christmas.
Yeah,
It
I
seems to
don't
be,
know
yeah.
why that's such a thing.
I'm glad that we have an alliance going here. that we all are seeing eye to eye on these things. All right, Rachel, what's your Christmas question?
All right. Are we shuffling or are we just going down the line?
Just go down the line.
Go for it.
All right. What is your favorite part about the holiday season?
My favorite part about the holiday season is what I don't have in Orlando, which is snow.
Yes. Okay.
I have tried, we didn't get a chance to do it this year, but the past 5 years, we've either gone to Breckenridge or to Jackson Hole, Wyoming, just to get
Ooh.
in, like, because I can't bundle up here. Orlando, it doesn't work. I mean, it's getting cooler right now, but I like to go and get in the mood where you've got, a fireplace and actual snow and Christmas lights in the snow and like the towns like Breckenridge and these places that decorate everything. That to me is that's my ultimate Christmas.
Okay.
Love that.
Breckenridge is nice. I haven't been there, but I see the pictures and it looks like just Christmas town.
Oh, you should go. It's really a cheap place to go to. It's not bad.
Really?
Yeah,
I gotta
it's not
look
like
that up now.
it's not like Vail. Like everybody looks at like Vail and Steamboat Springs. Breckenridge is like a very.
I think that's what scared me from going to Breckenridge. I think I might have seen the Vail prices and I was like, what?
No. Breckenridge is like a third of that. It's great.
Okay, that's good to know. So listeners, don't look up the Vail prices.
Look
up the Breckenridge prices. Don't pull a me. All right. So Taylor.
What does Christmas look like in a Kevin Ball's household?
Whale.
You know what? I saw that question before and I immediately was like, wait, no, this is it. This is it.
Yeah, it's
I guess
It's
more
getting
so
up-
what the question means is like, so when you wake up on Christmas Day, what does that look like? What is
I
the
have
A peach
festivities?
mimosa.
my
duh.
yes, a peach. My festivities on Christmas have never left my childhood. Um, every person that I've ever dated, every person I've lived with, my wife today, I hear a lot of stories where somebody is like, oh, they just give, oh, my wife or my husband bought me this for Christmas. They gave me 2 gifts for Christmas, or this is what I got. I have never left the tradition of there needs to be a stack of presents to open. And it can break the bank account or it can be little things, but I can't just buy like a single gift. I have to have a ton of presents under the tree for somebody to open. There has to be a stocking afterwards. We do presents first, stocking afterwards. Stocking has to have a bunch of stuff in it. Usually, stocking has one really good gift in it somewhere hidden towards the bottom. If it's like a jewelry or something, that's going in the stocking because it's the last thing after you get the big presents. But I have to have like, I mean, maybe because it's just the giving side of me, but I love to see a bunch of presents, not for myself, but just to give. It's
Just
kind of, it's
melted my
always
heart.
been.
I'm gonna go cry a
There's
little
joy
now.
in that, watching other people like open stuff, and you're
love
just
that.
like the mom on Christmas morning. You're like,
Right? I
Yeah.
agree with that
I-
though. Like how you said you like to have like multiple gifts. Like I'm a gift giver. Like I have to give multiple gifts. One's not enough. Like I feel like I need to give multiple because I like seeing how happy they are when they open the presents.
And
But
then
it's
I'm
the
like,
surprise in
"Do you
opening
want
the
it now?
presents.
Do you want it now?"
Yeah, I mean, like, okay, so if you gave somebody like if you gave like a necklace and earrings or something, I mean, you could actually divide it into three. I mean, I don't know. It's giving like it's the anticipation of like, oh my god,
Yeah.
I have no idea what's in this.
It's
I've
exciting.
Yeah, that's the fun part, and I think we can all bring it back. That was our childhood. The childhood
yeah,
was not knowing what's in the box.
it's just the
And-
magic.
Yeah, as we
Take
get
a
older,
look
we can
inside.
I can buy myself whatever I want to buy, but just seeing a bunch of stuff there and not knowing what's in it, I guess it just that's the Christmas.
Yes. Oh, I love that. That's
Love
a good
that.
answer. So, um, pick one: horror Christmas movies, rom-com holiday movies, or action Christmas movies.
Do you mean to name a movie in that
I want you to pick a genre.
genre
So,
or
like,
pick
what
a
would you
genre?
prefer during the holidays? Are you more of a horror Christmas movies, the rom-com Hallmark Channel, action Christmas movies, or I don't know, is there another maybe like Western Christmas movies? So there's another Christmas genre. I don't know.
What
I feel like
about
they make
like classic Christmas?
Yes,
classic
that's what I would
Christmas.
go.
Yeah. Because
Like
like
Miracle on
National
34th.
Lampoon, that's a classic. You couldn't
National
categorize that in
Lampoon's
any of the other
classic.
ones.
So that wouldn't be like
Um,
under like rom-com because I feel like that's that feel good like
Maybe
Well, yeah, but
just
what about
comedy.
Miracle on 34th.
yes, Miracle on 34th Street, either the older one or the newer one.
A Year Without Santa Claus is a staple.
Oh, yes, White Christmas. I mean, there's nothing
Oh,
like watching. I mean, we watch Bing Crosby's White Christmas every single year, and a lot of people don't realize that the entire movie is based on World War II. It's not based on a White Christmas. So
yeah.
that one, and then one of my favorites that a lot of people. I mean, my favorite actor in the world is Cary Grant. I adore everything that he does. And there's a Christmas movie that a lot of people don't look at or watch, but it's called The Bishop's Wife. And the story was Cary Grant was supposed to play one character in the movie, and David Neville was supposed to play a different one, but Cary Grant said he wanted to play the angel. So it's a movie about David Neville being a preacher that's trying to find the money to build the next section of his church, and Cary Grant comes back as an angel to help the family. And it is a very underrated movie, but it's like one of my all-time favorites. I suggest everybody watch it. It'll turn your heart. It's amazing.
Okay, I'm putting that on my list.
Yeah, The Bishop's Wife. And then
Bishop's
tell me
Wife.
what you think.
Where's my little
She's
pen?
writing. You
I
just
have my
text
little
me.
thing.
Now, wait, I have to ask. I know it's not for Christmas, but like, does anybody else on New Year's watch the reruns of The Twilight Zone? Because that's a
No.
tradition my dad and I do. I think it's on, I want to say the Sci-Fi Channel. They every year, for years since I was a kid, they do reruns of every single Twilight Zone, the original Twilight Zone episodes, and my dad and I watch them all day long. Like that's
Oh.
part of my favorite part of Christmas break is that when New Year's comes around, we just let the reruns go on all day. My mom gets sick of it, but like we just love it's like the old classic. You get the black and white. I love it. It's my favorite.
That's amazing. I've
That's
never thought
really-
of that. That is so cool.
I haven't thought of that
if
either.
if you ever like watching any of those episodes, I'm pretty sure it's on the Sci-Fi Channel. They rerun it every year. I've been watching it every year as a tradition since I was a kid.
Huh.
It's the best.
And it's the tradition that's the fun part. Whatever your tradition
Yeah.
is your tradition.
Yeah.
That's
I'll never not
that's-
watch them.
oh, that's great. Never stop. That's perfect. I might do that. That's really neat.
Mooch, see, this is why we do Christmas question and answers, because we find new things.
All right. Favorite Christmas song?
Let's see. If I can remember the name, I have like 3 favorite Christmas songs. One of them was the one that they did for, I think, Live Aid. They Can't Believe It's Christmas Time. It was I think U2 started or sang it. I'll have to remember what it, but that one, I love Baby It's Cold Outside because of the controversy of what it actually meant. If you research, I'm sure you guys have because of what you guys do. If you research the whole story about what it was a very simplistic thing. But then everybody now thinks it's like the rapey song.
Cancel culture.
Yes, cancel culture. So I still love that one. So those are kind
It's
of
a
like
good
my
song.
and Judy Garland's original version of help me out, what am I thinking of? Where
she sang a couple.
Where she said where she says we'll have to muddle through instead of hang the star on the highest bough, because there's
have yourself a Merry Little Christmas.
Have yourself a Merry Little Christmas. But
Yeah.
the original version of that song, because of what the meaning is behind it, is that what everybody experiences every year is that we're trying to have this, we have this great Christmas, but it's not always perfect, and we're trying to make it what we want it to be. And the original version of that song, where it says we'll have to muddle through, means basically, yeah, we're going to make it what it is, but we're going to have to push through and make it what we want. So I love the original version of that song before they switched it out to take that part out.
I heard about that recently, that like it's actually a really like depressing, sad song, because like, they talk about that. I heard that I think a year or two ago. They changed the lyrics back to the original, and when you listen to it, it's like really sad.
Yeah, it's basically what a lot of people experience during Christmas, that it's like, okay, I can't be with my family. I'm in a different state. I'm lonely, and I'll make it work. But next year it's going to be better. And I guess they didn't like what the song represented, so they changed that one line out of it. But when you take one line out of a song, sometimes it changes the entire, feeling of the original song, why it was written. So that one's
That's a good pick.
I think the first is just called "It's Christmas Time." I think it was the first one that I was thinking of, which was like the big mix for whatever the one of the big fundraisers. But
that's a good one. That's a good song.
Another question that was on the list, but I feel like we kind of talked about it.
Yeah, I was gonna say we could probably skip this one.
We were gonna ask about your favorite traditions, but you kind of told us about all your childhood traditions that you still like to do. But unless there's any other ones that you had that you didn't like, any other Christmas traditions that you do that maybe you didn't say, I don't want to like skip it if you didn't.
No, not really. I think that's pretty much it. I don't have any specific ones. Yeah.
This
Okay.
one's a fun one.
Why this question? I feel like this
Because there's two kinds of
All right.
people on this earth that I've discovered, and I want to know which one Kevin Ball is.
God. All right,
Moose
so
time.
Moose time.
All right.
it's really not that bad, but ugly Christmas sweater or ugly Christmas tuxedo?
Wow.
Are you the tuxedo guy that shows up to the Christmas party, or are
That's
you
my
just the
fucking
sweater
dad.
guy?
That is my dad.
That's what I'm
I've
saying. There's
never
two kinds of people in this world.
seen it. You know, I would probably actually say ugly Christmas tuxedo because
I could see that.
the ugly Christmas sweater was a fun thing that you would do because people would make them and you would get hand-me-down grandma sweaters and stuff. But now you can go to Target and they have a whole section called ugly Christmas sweaters. So
Yeah.
it kind of defeats the purpose of what it was, you know, what the whole ugly Christmas sweater was about. I think if you go to Goodwill and you find one, that, you know,
I
that's
have a
fun. No, I like tuxedo.
I have a thrifted one, and every time I wear it, my fiance always looks at me and goes, "Why do you look like an 80-year-old grandma?" And I'm like, "Because I want to. Why can't I? Like, let
Why
me live
not?
my life."
That's what a sweater is about.
Right?
It's an
Like, let me live
80-year-old
my
grandma.
life.
I think the best thing
That's
I ever saw was
perfect.
we had like a holiday meeting for work. This lady showed up in a Santa hat and Christmas cat overalls. That was a new one. So there's
There you
actually
go.
three
Love
kinds of people. There's three kinds of people. There's the ugly Christmas sweater, the ugly Christmas tuxedo, and then the ugly Christmas overalls.
Have
Mm.
you looked at what I'm wearing right now? There's a bunch of people.
I'm
Those
really
are
jealous of you
traditional.
people.
Those are traditional,
best.
like Ebenezer Scrooge pajamas. Like, you know how he wears like the, like in Schitt's Creek, he's like, "Send my best to Bob Cratchit." Like he wears like the silk pajamas and the like that makes me cozy. That makes me want to like dress up for Christmas. Like that reminds me of Christmas.
Yeah.
I don't think that's ugly. I think that's
I'm
festive.
I'm jealous of you right now because you just got the whole cozy vibes, and
That's what I'm
all
saying.
for
Like you
that.
made
I'm
us
trying.
all
That's what I was gonna
jealous.
do. I'm
I
like,
love it.
and
Should've
I
called
told her ahead
her.
of time. I sent her a message ahead of time. I'm like, okay, so I'm going like I'm gonna channel my inner Clark Griswold for this
He didn't share that
podcast
with
tonight,
us.
and I'm just gonna like this is what I'm gonna do. So
It's
I hope you like
perfect.
it.
But the whole
perfect.
purpose of that was I wanted the element of surprise. I wanted him to jump on screen. You guys be like, "It's Christmas! It's the spirit
love
of
it.
Christmas."
Love it.
Yeah, there's a thing there. There's a tree there.
I haven't seen any
Yeah,
commercial
right?
breaks.
No.
No, thank God it didn't happen.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's crazy, Kevin. I didn't even know that you live near mountains in Florida. I didn't even know they had
Yeah.
snowy mountains. That's crazy.
No,
No,
it's over a
it's
mountain.
you had to pay extra for this.
Oh, that makes sense.
I was gonna say I like that throw that you got going on back there. It's a nice little love
Yeah,
chair.
right?
Uh-huh. Oh yeah, it's a
Is it a Kevin Ball original?
it no, but I cut all the wood in the fireplace.
Oh, there you
that's
go.
all. That was all me.
I love it. So, what is our next one, girls?
Have you ever been re-gifted a present?
Have you ever re-gifted a
Or
present?
sorry, have you ever? Well, I mean, it could go either ways. Have you ever re-gifted, or have you ever been? Well, I guess you
Rapper
wouldn't
dip
know, would
scabber.
you?
Oh,
Oh my gosh.
have I get? I have regifted quite a few presents.
No
Yes.
shame.
So my wife's mother, who will never listen to this, is one of those type of people that realizes that she just has to give things for Christmas, whether there's no thought into it or all. And
Mhm.
so, and my wife said this is what she's always done. So every Christmas we will get, she'll go to her mom will go to the dollar store or wherever, and we'll get these like gift packs of Perel shampoo and candles we would never use, and like anything you could imagine that's like a gift
Little
pack from a dollar
tchotchkes.
store. Yeah, tons of tchotchkes. So basically, I don't know if regifting and Goodwill are the same thing, but we basically have a big box in the garage, and most of her mom's stuff goes from us, and we look at it, and then it just goes right out into the Goodwill
I mean,
box.
somebody
into the
else is gonna get the
garage. So
gift.
Yeah, right.
somebody's gonna get it. That's about as
Multiple
that's
people
about
will
as
get the gift.
Yeah.
that's about as much as a regifting.
Reduce,
Okay.
reuse, recycle.
Yeah.
Yes,
Exactly.
I love it.
it's
So it
yeah,
counts. It counts.
reduce. Yes, definitely reduce.
All right. Favorite Christmas food?
This is going to go back to my childhood, which is probably where you all want everything to go. Stuffed cabbage.
Ooh.
Yeah, my grandmother's was from Hungary, and she kept up with all the recipes. And every Christmas, we would go over to her house, and they would make a traditional Christmas cookie, and she would always make stuffed cabbage. So that was like this big thing we had every year.
Okay. That sounds delicious.
I don't think
I
I've
love
ever
the
had
smell
that.
of cabbage.
Doesn't
Like,
cabbage
when it's
smell
being
like
cooked?
farts? I thought cabbage smelled like
Depends
farts.
on how you make it. Depends on how you make
Cabbage
it.
does smell like farts, but when you make it like in stuffed cabbage with the rice and the beef and the pork and everything
It
else,
hides
and
the
it
fart
has
smell.
It has like a
hides the-
fried smell to it. Like, it has
Fried
like, I don't
farts?
know. Yeah. No,
fried
Okay.
farts.
not quite. Maybe. I don't know.
I mean, I can't
It's been a
speak.
while.
I can't speak because my favorite Christmas food is ham, and we're best friends, but we're not best friends. Like, we stab each other in the back, so it's fine.
What type of ham?
Just like regular, like
Just
like
like
Christmas
spiral
honey ham.
cut, sugar
Yeah,
glazed.
Does it have the
usually it's
little
a spiral
pineapple
cut.
stuck to it?
Oh, dude, if it's got pineapple, that's just extra. That's just like
Oh,
like
that's
the
like the
chef's kiss.
bougie hams.
Yeah. But that's rare. That rarely happens. And in my household, it doesn't happen. At my fiance's household, it happens more often. But not in my family.
I'm a ham
do it.
hater. I don't like ham.
Ooh, what do you like?
Turkey.
No, I'm the
Your turkey?
And I'm very
Mhm.
Italian, so fishes too. I like the seven
Do you,
fishes.
do you do the seven fishes?
Well, my mother-in-law does. We haven't done it since my grandma passed, because my grandma would do like kind of a version of it, because she's not the Italian one, she's Welsh, but like she did all the cook from scratch. You would think she was like 20 to 30 different nationalities, because she could cook like nobody's business. Like, she could make Italian food, she could make Chinese food, she could make, you name it. Like, she can make a really good ham, but I'm a ham hater. So yeah, I'm a ham hater. Sorry, Taylor.
This is where you and I part now.
I know.
Do you like bacon?
That's the only kind of pork that I like. That and Taylor ham.
We're good.
Actually, so I'm not a total ham hater. Actually, I just corrected myself. I like Taylor ham.
Oh, wait. Okay, wait. Question.
Pork roll.
Now that you said that, I don't know if you have ever listened to the controversy, Kevin, but do you consider it Taylor ham or pork roll?
He looked at me like I had 5 heads.
Because
so that's why I said
like
pork roll.
you don't even know what it was when she said
I
it.
have no idea what either of those are.
No, that's okay. I don't even like it anyways, but so there's like a
Kevin.
You have to
controversy.
explain what is Taylor ham and pork roll?
It's almost like a breakfast meat. I don't know how to describe it.
This is blasphemy. I just want to say that.
It's a New Jersey thing. It's a New Jersey thing. So apparently it's a huge thing that if you live in Northern Jersey, it's called Taylor ham. If you live in Southern Jersey, it's called pork roll.
That's BS.
I mean, so Taylor ham is the brand name, pork roll is the actual name of it. But like, I just call it Taylor ham. I don't eat it, so I don't really get into the controversy.
Kevin, let me just, I'm gonna talk over Taylor here. Taylor,
Is it
you're
safe?
not allowed to call it. Pork roll shouldn't even have made it into this conversation, okay?
Listen,
Kevin, if
I
you
call
ever
it Taylor
come
ham.
across something that says pork roll, you better address it as Taylor ham.
I call it Taylor ham.
That's because you're Taylor, rightfully
I still
so.
don't know what it is.
Exactly.
So it is.
So I'm out of this.
It's kind of like
Circular meat.
spam. It's like a really thin. So it comes in like literally like a
It's
like a
gross.
log, but you can get it at the store and it'll say Taylor ham on it. It's a red
Gross.
package and it's like really thin sliced like ham circles, and then you cut like a little Pac-Man slit in it and you fry it up on the stove and you serve it with some bacon, egg, and cheese.
But it's kind of like the saltiest piece of like ham you've ever eaten. Like, to me, it tastes like overly salty. That's why I don't like
burn
it.
mine
It
to
tastes like
Mother
if ham,
God, so I don't.
if ham and bacon had a baby and then you doused it in salt. That's
Yeah,
not.
actually,
I
that's
don't
not.
like
That's
it.
mine's never too salty. But then again, like I said, I pretty much
Mhm.
burn the Taylor out of it, so I don't really know. It's just
It's
like
just-
it's not
it's
even
just
ham
burnt
at that
ham.
point. It's not even Taylor ham at that point. It's just like a little crispy Pac-Man. But like you have to have a Taylor ham, egg, and cheese sometime. This is just more reason for you to come visit Jersey. Like,
yeah, or we'll just ship you
to
some
try
Taylor
it.
ham. We do that to some
Can
of
we
the
do that?
family. Yeah,
Ship me some
my
Taylor ham.
aunt in West
Yeah.
Virginia, we've sent her Taylor ham before.
because you have to have
Take
a
that
Taylor
boy.
ham, egg, and cheese.
Ooh,
Rachel, have
that
you
sounds
never
good.
had Taylor ham?
I don't eat meat.
Oh. Well then.
What? You don't eat meat?
Never mind.
Long.
Really?
A long time. It's
I don't know.
You guys
I'm
should
finding out.
you guys should meet each other.
like
You guys
Right?
should talk.
I'm like-
15.
We're finding out all
15
kinds of new
years.
things.
So you bring one guy on, and everybody figures out
Yeah,
what's going
right?
on with
It
the-
changes the dynamic. It
Yeah.
changes the dynamic. But yeah,
So what
no,
do you eat
never.
if you don't eat meat? What's your go-to?
So
Like here I go. I'm going to go back with you. I'm interviewing you now. What's your go-to?
no, it's fine. Majority of my family, we don't eat meat, but there are, the meat eaters. We do, the baked ziti, the ravioli, like we usually do an Italian Christmas.
Ooh.
Baked ziti.
Wait, do you eat fish? Or is that
I will sometimes.
because some people I know consider that like they'll be like
My mom
I
is
don't see
full,
that as like a meat.
vegan, but I like fish is like my only kind of like seafood, but I don't eat anything else.
Y'all are making me hungry now.
Right.
Telling you, we got to
Not
shit. We got okay. So that we got to
hot
put that on the
dog.
to-do list. That's gonna be our holiday gift to Kevin. Is a little, a couple packages of Taylor ham. Taylor ham.
Taylor ham. I
In
listen.
the
I
red
call it Taylor
package
ham
that says,
too.
Taylor, if I ever hear you say pork roll again, you're banned.
Listen, I'm a
forever.
North Jerseyan
I've been out
anyways,
over
okay?
here.
So I call it Taylor ham. I just don't even like it.
I'm stripping you
Right?
your New Jersey license.
Sorry. Oh,
Pork
shit.
roll. Mm.
Yeah,
It
because they'll be
sounds
like, if
gross
you
when
go to
call
like
it pork
Pennsylvania,
roll.
they're like, we only have pork roll. I'm like, it's the same thing, and it's Taylor ham. And I'm like, please don't
People
let
get
me.
so mad and for what? It's just a piece of meat.
Right
I'm gonna
now.
call it a meat log.
This is
I'm
where me
gonna-
and Taylor.
it's
I'm
so
gonna. You're just gonna
stupid.
see like, you ever see like in those movies where like my hand just goes into the next screen and like
Yeah.
Smack
it's
somebody
me
in the
and
head.
yeah, you just
I'm
see
gonna
me
get
and
hated
Taylor.
on. People are gonna hear this and I'm gonna get hated on.
No, it's okay, Taylor. We know that deep down you know it's Taylor ham, but don't ever bring.
Wait,
pork
really
roll
quick,
ever
really
again.
quick. I'd love to tell you guys. Speaking of Taylor ham, when I was born, my mother, which is hilarious, I tell the
Did
story
she
all the
name you
time.
after Taylor ham?
No. My mother wanted to
Ugh.
name me Taylor
Pork
Ann.
roll.
Yeah, right, pork roll. She wanted to name me Taylor Ann, but instead she was scared the kids were gonna call me like Taylor Ham and make fun of
I
me. So
would.
she called me Taylor Margaret. I would
I would
rather
call
be.
you. I would.
I sound like an old lady. Okay, Taylor
If you were
Margaret.
Taylor Ann, you know I would at every family function. I would be like Taylor ham.
I would rather be called. I still get like my fiance's uncle, since I've known him, has always called me Taylor Ham, egg and cheese. Like, I get
See,
called
Kevin,
Taylor
this is
Ham.
the part of the podcast that once it starts to get towards the end, we get derailed and
I'm
like
tired.
This is what I
unhinged.
was hoping for. I like this one.
This is
I'm just
yeah,
tired.
I'm
we
just
get
gonna call you
crazy.
Taylor Pork Roll
Shut
from
us
now
off
on.
yet.
That's perfect.
Yeah, well now you learned something new. Now you learned
Yeah.
something new.
That New Jersey people have nothing better to do than to fight over pieces of meat logs. Terrible.
Because as a New Jerseyan, you know the right thing, Taylor.
God.
So
Nothing better for Christmas than a bunch of people fighting over a meat log. That's
Right.
great.
dude, I'm telling you.
Love
Hey,
it.
at least it's not fruitcake. What's our view on fruitcake? We didn't have that
I've
on the
never
list,
had
but anybody
Never
ever
had
had it?
No.
I don't think I've ever even
I've
had
never had that.
I feel
People
like
make
I
it
had it
sound like
once when I was
it's
little. I was just like a curious child, and I was like, "Can I have a piece of that?" And I don't think I liked it. I
Is
feel
it
like I
actually
remembered
hard like
not.
a rock? People say it's
I
like really
had like
hard.
something against fruitcake, and I was like, I don't remember ever trying it. And I'm like, there's definitely a reason for that because I wouldn't just have a grudge against fruitcake for nothing unless it was bad.
But is there even fruit in it? It looks like
No,
milk.
it's kind of like candied,
Ew.
like you know how like maraschino cherries are.
Yeah. Oh.
It's
Oh, yeah.
kind of like that.
No,
It's like
no.
fruit that's like maraschinoed. I don't really know what
That's a good explanation. No,
I'm like,
that's
I don't know
about
how
right.
else to describe it, but it's just
In
got a
your
lot of
professional
colors.
opinion.
It's a little
Yeah.
bit of bread, a little bit of orange slices, a little bit of cherry slices, a bunch of gelatinous stuff, and it's
Mystery ingredients. There's at least
Mystery.
5 mystery ingredients.
Yes.
That is the meat log.
Somebody was like, you only
Yes.
give Bath and Body Works to people that you hate. And I was like, no. If you really don't like somebody, you give them a fruitcake. Now, what you give to somebody you like is panettone. That's the Italian bread loaf that comes in that cute little box with the ribbon.
Oh, I've seen those. I've
So
never
if you want to
eaten
say I
those.
love you to somebody from the heart, you give them a little box of panettone. That's where it's at. No fruitcake.
Alright.
Fruitcake
That's
is for our enemies.
Believe you.
Panettone is for your Italian friends. Gotcha.
Yes. Toast it up, a little bit of butter. It's fantastic.
I don't
Chef's
even know
kiss.
what that is. I mean, I've heard it, but I've never eaten it. I'm sorry.
Taylor.
I'm gonna go
I'll see you
escort
too.
myself out.
Yeah, so now that I have to hang up this call and I have to talk to Taylor about Panettone.
She's gonna
I'm
come
bringing,
through.
I'm bringing it to Aunt
Beat
Dawn's.
me up.
But what are our final questions for Kevin? Because there's one I want to ask.
We went all over the place on this, so yeah.
It's
We
just
did.
how
like,
it goes.
This is
It's
how
how
it
it
always
goes.
goes at the
I love
end.
it.
Like once we
This-
surpass like an hour and a half, we start to like derail. And then that's why I called it the Ghoulfriend Hour, because we get into something called like Ghoul Talk. And it
Right.
just becomes like whatever kind of pops to like our brains, and we just
This
But
is
what
better though.
celebrity would you party with on New Year's Eve?
Like that I haven't, or that I have partied with, or would I?
Would
Oh,
you party with
snap.
a celebrity on New Year's
Wait,
Eve?
no, I want to know about that.
Yeah, give it. Well, if you can't mention names, you don't have to mention names, but just tell us if it was. Oh, I don't know how we would word that.
Just rhyme it with.
Yeah, rhyme
A
it. Do one of those
word.
rhyme names.
I have to think about it. I mean, I've spent a couple New
Like
Year's Eve
Nusta
away.
Nimes. That's Busta Rhymes.
No, Busta Rhymes. Yeah. Let's just say who I would love to, and I mentioned it before. I'm a huge McConaughey fan, so I think I would enjoy. I'd enjoy hanging out with McConaughey because he seems to just like be able to talk about everything outside of the industry, and being in
Yeah.
the industry, the last thing you want to talk about is the industry. So
Did you see
That would
him
be
that
fun.
recent video of him making a margarita with his new tequila that he has?
no,
He like was like just I think it was just some I gotta find it. I'll see if I can send it to you. I was loving every bit of it because he's just so like down to earth. He's like this guy took his tequila and was showing him how he kind of made a margarita out of it. He's like, all right, and he's like doing the little things and he goes, that's a good margarita. Like he is like
Yep.
he's just so cool.
listen. If have you read his book Greenlight?
No, but I've heard it's really good.
It's a short read. It's a really small book, but if you can't like take time to read it, look up like some podcast interviews with him on the book. It is just listening to him talk about it is amazing. He's definitely one that he's one I'd love to just sit and chill with.
Okay. So
Question 2.
no, yeah, go ahead. Because I forgot. I was like, we can't name names because I was like so curious. I'm like, so who did you party with on New Year's Eve? I'm like, because that sounds like a good time.
I was trying to think about that myself.
Yeah, I was like, we can't
If
name
I
drop.
remember, I'll say it.
Okay. So I guess we kind of talked about the last one.
yeah, he already made his holiday playlist.
All right, should we do number 17 as our last one?
All right, last one. Homemade gifts or
You have
store-bought
numbers. Oh my god.
gifts? Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Morgan's
just for
very
like the
organized.
Q&A, because like since there's 3 of us, we got to kind of try and like keep it somewhat organized. Otherwise, this is going to turn into like
Yeah.
the Brady Bunch, and it's just going to be a bunch of cubes yelling at each other.
That and Morgan
Perfect.
ends up speaking
be
most of the
like-
time. Yeah. We just don't know when to speak. Nothing towards Morgan. That's all out of love. Me and Rachel are very quiet. We don't talk a lot. Morgan is like she's the like bull of our
I know. I literally said to them, I was like, I'm sorry I'm so type A because I don't mean to be, but I'm just so used to
No,
like
but
I'm a chatty
okay
Cathy.
with it.
Good questions.
I literally told my brother earlier today. I was like, I'm so nervous. I'm like, because Morgan's not feeling well, and like Rachel and I are gonna have to step up. And like I always say that I'm like the ugly funny friend who just likes to make jokes. Like I like to make the comments, or like you know how they always say like that terrible joke. They're like, oh yeah, that's like the funny fat friend. Like that's
Listen,
me.
my little
Like,
Taylor
I
Ham,
like
you
to-
are beautiful, you are capable,
I'm
and
not
you're
meaning it like that.
magical.
I mean like I like to be the one that likes to like just be like like I'll agree with it and then like ask the questions and stuff. Like I can't do what Morgan does, where she kind of does that whole she got like girl boss vibes.
I
I
was
can't
the
do that.
kid
That's
that
not
got
me.
chatty, like always
Yeah.
talking on her report card in school. That's the only reason why. Like, it took me 29 years to figure out that I love podcasting because it's like the one thing that I'm like decent at because I was so good at talking in school. Like, my teacher would be like, hey, you know why you didn't pass your geometry test? Because you were talking to
Shut the
Taylor
fuck up.
behind you. And I was like, so,
It's finding the
See.
pauses in other people's conversations or other people's like things to kind of like realize where you need to interject. That's where the whole
Mhm.
podcasty thing comes in, because you want to
Yeah.
listen to the story and people have something to say, and then as soon as they hit like a little breathy point, then you're like, oh, by the way, and then
Yeah.
you kind of like
Next.
enter your
You're
Transition.
like, let me hold you there.
transition.
Speaker 1, speaker 2, speaker 3. Ghost host, host ghost, and ghost with the most.
Mhm.
But yeah, so
Any other?
handmade gifts or store bought?
Actually, I'm going to say store bought, unless you're really good at making a handmade gift, because I got handmade gifts before from people, and sometimes it's just like, okay, you waited to the last minute and you realize I need to give somebody something, so I'm just going to throw something together. Like if you're an artist and this is your craft and you really put some heart into it, I think that's what the whole thing is. It's putting heart into it, whether it's a
Yeah.
store bought or a handmade. As long as you're putting heart into what you're giving somebody because you really want to give them, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah. We you might enjoy this, Kevin, because this is a funny little thing. So Taylor, as we know, is my
No.
cousin.
No. That's it.
Taylor
I'm not talking about that.
Taylor, out of the
What did
goodness
Taylor
of
make?
her
I didn't
heart,
make shit.
she made me something. Taylor, is it nearby?
No. Oh, hold on. I'll go get it.
You have to see this,
Yes,
Kevin.
hold on. I'll go get it.
No.
So we like to call Taylor's so when I was pregnant, she made me, because I love Halloween, and I was like, my daughter is gonna be a little Halloweeny junior. And so she made her a crocheted jack-o'-lantern like stuffy blanket. So it's got like a jack-o'-lantern head. It's like a blanket, super cute. So I had sent we're big SpongeBob fans, so I had sent Taylor a TikTok of Patrick Star when he's wearing like his like hooker heels and fishnets, and like he's like fancy Patrick. So like
Oh,
I
I
had
remember
no
that.
idea, but Taylor took it upon herself and was like,
As a magic
I'm
gift.
going to make this for Morgan. And I didn't know about this until we were shooting a podcast. And she's like, you just reminded me I have something. And we call it Taylor's Timu because she tries to recreate these like modern, like very intricate crochet designs, and then they come out kind of like the Wish version, the Timu version. So this is a Statric Patar.
This is him. But then it gets better.
Just wait till he turns
Listen,
around.
okay. I am a good artist, okay? I brought one of my better creations out to show you that sometimes things just don't go as planned, okay? This is his back.
I can't look because I start
Okay.
laughing really hard.
This is
He has a
him.
very nice backside.
He does, except it's a little lopsided, and Morgan thinks it's funny because I sometimes have to mold it to get it back to where it
He
needs
has
to
to
go.
push his butt cheeks into
Yeah,
place.
you have to fix it. But listen, okay, listen.
Oh
I do
my
make good things. Wait, let me
God.
see. See, I do. Hold on. I gotta
She
figure
does
out how I
make
can-
cute stuff, but sometimes
This-
things go awry.
I'm not gonna be able to show you. Hold on.
You have to hold it closer to the camera.
There we go.
Yeah.
This is like something I've made. Like this is cute. It's a little like pumpkin guy, okay? I make cute things. Sometimes they just don't turn out right. And this is actually where Morgan, I didn't get to show you. This is the other creation that I made.
I don't know
so
if I can handle this. I might burst a lung.
I attempted to make a tiny giraffe, okay? Tiny crocheting is not easy, okay?
Oh
This
my
is
God.
my giraffe, okay? These are his feet. They're a little messed up, okay? Just a little. Okay, this is his side view. Okay, wait, hold on. This is side view, back view, okay?
Morgan's gonna blow a lung over here.
She is. She's gonna probably throw up again. Okay, he
can't.
didn't turn out well, but I promise you, okay, I did go to school for I always say I went to school for arts and crafts. Fine arts, okay? I'm good at some things, just not all things. I never said I was great, okay? Some things just these are not good. This is
Well,
fine.
but you
These are
made, okay, so the toughest part about making Patrick was you actually got a butt crack.
His
I mean,
100%
that-
certified
I did,
dump.
even though it's a little
And-
lopsided.
That took like all the stitching and everything to a totally different level, because if you just would have done flat on the back, that would have been one thing. You actually had to do something different to get a butt. So you got two cheeks in there.
Yeah,
you know,
Too
that's
cheap.
talent.
Thank you, Kevin, for seeing my talent in butt cheek
That's talent.
making.
Oh, that's
Now
adorable.
we have to shine a spotlight too on Kevin's talent. I don't know if you guys both know, but Kevin, what is your talent? You can craft something.
Oh, I make knives.
He does.
Nice.
He crafts like they're really awesome. Like they're
When
cool
I
looking.
was doing Godzilla King of Monsters, I had a lot of time off when I wasn't working. We were there for 4 months in Atlanta, and I got hooked on that show Forged in Fire, where they basically do a knife making competition. And I just kept watching it, and I figured, okay, that could be fun. So when I came back home, I bought like a cheap anvil and a little forge and some grinders, and I slowly worked my way up to more expensive pieces and stuff. But yeah, so I make knives. It's kind of
That's
my
cool.
I love
it's
it.
kind of my fun thing. Yeah.
Rachel, is there
Awesome.
anything that you would like to shock me with on this podcast? You've dropped a couple bombs on
I
me on
don't
the
think
last
so.
podcast. Do you have a
I don't
talent?
talk 'em like you do. I don't think so.
Come on, what do you make? What do you do? What's your
What do I make? I
hidden
don't know.
talent?
Train dogs and I come home. That's it.
You train
So
dogs.
you
That's
make
your...
dogs behave well.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
You
Not
make
all the time.
good dogs.
I
Do
can.
you take that
Will.
talent into people? I mean, can you
Mm.
take the dog talent into making people like obey? Or at
I
Can you
least
imagine Rachel just
Nope.
pulls a clicker out and like me and Taylor just like sit upright and
Knock
just
it
start
off.
listening?
that would make my job a lot easier if the people did
Right.
listen.
okay, so clicker. Okay, I heard the word. So my best friend, his wife works for Birds and Animals Unlimited in Orlando or Florida, what they originally. She got the job to go to New York and open up the branch of Birds and Animals in New York.
Oh.
So I was up. I went up there. We transported all the dogs up there in a small minivan. We had about 9 dogs in a little minivan. We transported them up there. And she's done like a ton of really big jobs. And she did one with Billy Bob Thornton and a couple of people. I can't even remember what the name of the movie was, but you mentioned clicker, and you know, you click the thing, you teach the dogs to come over to you, and all I remember was a story from her, and she had to be in like there had a some type of dog had to run towards the truck, and there were 3 guys in the truck, Billy Bob Thornton and 2 other people, really famous actors, and she was laying across their laps with the little clicker, and she said it was like this really tense moment, and she's laying across the laps of these 3 actors, and she goes to break the tension. She's like looked up at him as a trainer, and she goes, "Okay, so here's the way this is going to go. I'm in charge. When I click, you come. You got it?"
Wow.
That's
and she said,
great.
Billy Bob looked at her and he's like,
I was gonna say
like, "I
Billy
had to
Bob out of
break."
all of them probably loved that one.
She's like, "I had to break it." She goes, "I'm laying across their laps with a clicker, and my face is like in his crotch, and I'm trying to get a dog to run up to the door."
I love that. I literally love that. That is so funny. I would be cracking up, and that's a good icebreaker. I like people who have like a what do you call that? Like a naughty sense of humor, like can crack like dirty jokes.
Oh
Mm.
yeah,
My
you
kind of
have
piece.
to in the film business too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So Rachel, now you know what you need to do if you ever start working in the film industry.
Yep.
You have a
I
line.
click,
You
you
have a
come.
I
one-liner.
have a line. That's my one line.
Yeah.
Because you're one line.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So kind of because we're going on 9:30 now, we got to start wrapping this up, and I still feel like we still have so much to talk about. We just
Part
Ghoulfriend Hour
3.
just gets we're a runaway train.
I know.
The 3 of
it's
us, and then we add Kevin into this crazy mix. We are a runaway train.
I think we just need a part 3. No like questions about anything, just random talk with Kevin Ball.
I
That's
would
it.
love to just do like
random
a ghoul,
shit we're gonna
like
talk about.
ghoul talk. That's my
I
favorite.
think that's what
Just,
this ended up with.
Yeah,
yeah.
we'll just continue on in another episode.
This is how a typical Ghoulfriend Hour episode goes. We'll get through like the serious stuff first, and then by the end of it, we're delirious, we're crying, laughing, and Taylor's breaking out a Taylor Timu creation.
Yeah, but it's
I
like a
love that.
delusional sandwich. We start out with like we can't focus, and then it turns into the serious stuff, and then it just all hell breaks loose back into the delusional.
But I think
So-
the organic is what keeps people listening, because like I like to laugh during a podcast. I don't know about you guys. Like, do you guys like when you're listening to a podcast and like
Yeah.
somebody can like make you crack up?
Yeah,
Yes.
I say
So
so. Yeah.
Oh, we've been
But
on
yeah.
so long that I think my earbuds have just gone. My earbuds are going dead.
well, on that note,
On that note,
let's-
Christmas fans.
let's wrap everything up, and thank you so much again for an awesome part 2, Kevin. Everybody, like we've said on our previous episode, go check out his book, Heart of a Stuntman. It is awesome. You need to get it in your hands, spread the word, tell people that you know, fellow humanitarians. It makes a great Christmas gift, especially if you're late on your Christmas shopping. You can order it via Amazon Prime. So make it happen. And as we do every single time, we're going to say happy holidays, and let's
get weird.
weird.
I
We
didn't know
never
we
get
were
it
getting
on
into
time.
that.
That's
Well,
all
that
right.
worked perfect. All right, try it again. Ready?
All right, ready?
1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Let's
Let's
get
Get
weird.
weird.
That was awful.
Even
That's
better.
right. I think the more discombobulated it is, the better it is. But
I don't know
happy
why we did it.
holidays, everybody, from all of us at the Ghoulfriend Hour. Kevin, do you want to give them a happy holidays from Clark Griswold?
happy holidays from good old Sparky here.
Yes.
Joy.
I love it. What is it? Jolliest bunch of
Jolliest bunch of assholes this side of the nut house.
house. Yes. Love it. All right. Well, thanks for everybody for listening, and we'll see you next time. Stay spooky.
See you guys.
Bye.